What's good, family? Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell. So, we got some breaking news regarding your man's, YORDENIS UGAS. He has indeed broken his silence, and we also have the now leaked medical report from his situation after the fight. Now, as you can see, doctors have now confirmed, much like Errol Spence did to Kell Brook, your YORDENIS Ugas has had his eye popped like a cherry. Yeah, 100%. Listen, YORDENIS Ugas has had his eye popped like a booty. Yeah, you best believe it. Your man's Errol Spence topped top that eye of. Listen, YORDENIS Ugas had his eye topped. Simple as that. Just like Kell Brook did. I'm not sure what it is that Errol Spence has in his hands, but he had that orbital cracking rounds. Yeah, he got that armor piercing orbital cracking rounds. Just go straight through your orbital. It's mad. So that's the first thing. That's the first news. And really, on that note, I do have to kind of apologise. After the fight, I lost some coin betting on the fact. I thought Ugas was more durable. I thought his defense was better. His defense was awful. He had no footwork tonight. All he could do was stand there and bend at the waist and look at the floor. It was very odd. He wasn't looking at any of the shots coming back at him. In the pocket, Ugas had nothing, had no answers. He had no. It's very rare, you know, to get to this level and have no defense and no footwork. Very odd. He just literally stood there and wasn't even watching. I've never seen anything like it on the inside. I've never seen someone, for example, Mikey Garcia or Danny Garcia, when they lost but were able to survive because they actually have a bit of defense, i.e. they can watch the shots that were being thrown. Ugas buried his head in the sand, started looking at the floor, looking at anywhere but his opponent. And that's why, you see, even though Ugas had a high guard, that's why his face was all bust up. Because having your hands high but not watching what's coming is no good. All that is a generic guard. Unless you can parry and actually adjust the position of your hands to the punch coming, it's going to go through. And that's what happened. Having a high guard is pretty much good for nothing, especially against a high level opponent like Errol Spence, who can mix his shots up, make holes in your guard. He can split the guard, he can touch, whip, etc, etc. Very poor from Ugas, but anyway, that's the tail of the tape. That's why he got his eye bust, in my opinion. Not to mention, clearly Errol Spence is extremely accurate, because Errol Spence reposted a photo which showed all of his victims. Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, and now YORDENIS Ugas. All of them, man, had their eyes half popped. Or in Danny Garcia's case, it was half popped. Kelly Brook got his booty was all the way popped. Same as YORDENIS Ugas. Now, YORDENIS Ugas has broken his silence after the fight and said the following. First of all, I want to apologise for not coming back to thank everyone who was supporting me in person after the fights. I have a fracture in my eye, and in the next few days the doctors will say how they will want to treat it. Last night I spent all morning in hospital, and I write these words with only one eye. The other eye is still closed, but it's very important for me to write this for you. I want to thank you and my family, my team, and every person who was supporting me. I want to congratulate Errol Spence Jr., a great champ, and sharing the ring with him was an honour. He came, as always, sharp, and in the last rounds he hit me in the eye, and everything was more difficult. The best man won. Yeah, the best man won and topped me in the ring. We have come this far by taking our wins and our losses with humility. I am sad, but at peace. Come back. I will come back from the dark. And already at this point I thought Crawford at the amateurs, Porter, Pacquiao and Spence now, some of the best fighters in history and future Hall of Famers. I am proud of what I'm doing, in and out of the ring. I have won millions of hearts over. With the favour of God, there are great days to come. We will recover and come back stronger. Thank you all. Now listen, I'll be honest, yeah, his eye got popped. And I was kind of harsh on Ugas, but yeah, his eye was popped, and that is, from what I've heard, a horrible injury. And again, to be fair to Ugas, he didn't quit. He didn't actually pull a Kell Brook. Kell Brook's eye actually wasn't fully closed. And he found a way out. Ugas got stopped by the doctor. And his eye was completely shut, and the other one was half mushed as well. So whilst I was angry at the time, because I feel that was one of the worst performances I've seen from Ugas. Extremely poor. Even though it was the best Errol Spence I've seen, Ugas was awful. I've seen him in there with Porter or Pacquiao. He was actually using his feet to disengage, and if you hold your feet and stand still against Errol Spence, you will just be a heavy bag, and that's what it ended up happening. He was a glorified heavy bag. You're supposed to, as Errol Spence steps in, step off. Obviously, that's easier said than done, but he didn't even try that. He didn't try, after about the first round, Ugas didn't try disengaging. He constantly was happy to stand there, and the thing is, he wasn't having any success on the inside. It's not like you can say, well, YB, he was catching and countering, or he was finding holes in between Errol Spence's offense. He wasn't. He was just being a heavy bag. That's why he got battered so much. It's crazy. And I wonder at this level, why don't people have more than one game plan? It's like people go in there and think, well, I'm going to go through the motions, and if it's enough, that'll be fine. If not, so be it. There was no... I guess that is what the greatest fighters are. The greatest fighters make adjustments. Ugas made no adjustments. If anything, he actually ended up trying to fight Errol Spence's game. He ended up trying to beat Errol Spence at his own game. But yet, Ugas didn't have no offense from about the second round. Very odd. So yeah, whilst I was harsh, and yeah, it's a bad injury, at least he didn't quit. But still, this wasn't about quitting or not. That was extremely poor from Ugas. But yeah, where does Ugas go from here? No one cares. That's the truth. He needs to retire, in my opinion. Yeah? Because he just ain't that level. He might be able to knock around, and I mean, Pacquiao was 1 million years old. If he wasn't bullying Pacquiao, Grandad, then he wouldn't even be known, and rightfully so. Yeah? There's nothing left for Ugas anyway. For me, he's peaked. He peaked on that Pacquiao night, and that's the end of that. He made some good coin against Spence, and that is the end of that. He ain't coming back at the top level. In fact, it might be a shout. Conor Benn versus Ugas. That might be a fight worthwhile in a year's time, when Ugas has repaired himself. I wouldn't mind seeing that. And I think potentially Conor Benn might knock him out, to be quite frank. Looking how stiff and how useless his defense is. That might end up being another fighter that Conor Benn ends up beating better than Errol Spence beat. But anyway, I'm not going to say fair play to Ugas because he was poor, yeah. But I respect, even though his performance was one of the worst ones I've seen, I do respect his warrior spirit. Because he wasn't really, he weren't really fighting back, which didn't leave the referee or doctors much choice, but he wasn't begging it. He wasn't like them guys. Kell Brook, for example, he was begging for a way out. He was hoping his trainer threw the towel in. Ugas wasn't really signalling like that. So I rate that as a warrior. But it could have been, I think he watched the fight back and realised how useless he was. And 100%.